and it didn't matter if the stories were true or not, providing they distracted people, and you, the politician, from having to deal with the intractable complexities of the real world.
It's LQ1 here. You know I'm back with some of the craziest clips from all over the internet. You know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's get to the video.
So I'm sure by now you've probably seen plenty of videos showing magnesium falling from the sky, or Willie Pete, or thermite, or whatever. This is the most high definition video of that happening that I have ever seen so far. This guy had like a significantly good camera, and I mean, obviously this looks like the entire city is in complete shambles, or town that he's in. Insane to see though.
Someone pulled up a picture of his bedroom on Twitter, and there was blood on the wall. And his response to this, his explanation, was that his gums would bleed at night, and he would wipe away the blood and smear it on the wall.
I think they're a little small ones. See? Right there?
The thing is, I used to use a dead rat as an alarm clock, actually, for my stream. Because basically what happened was, whenever the sun would come up, it would start cooking the corpse of the rat, and then it would start smelling again, and then the smell would wake me up. So I would use the rat effectively as an alarm clock, and as soon as it got hot enough, it would wake me up, and then I would know, oh shit, it's time to stream. And the shard of the tooth that was still there was stabbing my tongue. And I went downstairs on the break for the raid, and I got a pair of pliers, and I broke that piece of my tooth off with pliers in my bathroom.
Countless guys lined up. These are all the guys. There's more of them.
This generation is scary.
It kind of infuriates me, an industry that has historically and still does exploit women.
Honestly, pathetic.
We cannot be this hungry, surely.
I'm going to be sleeping with 23 barely legal 18-year-olds.
Is that real or what? That is not real, is it? She's like taking the piss.
I don't discriminate. Girls, do what you want to do. But this is mad.
Let's be real, man. This generation has normalised a lot of nonsense.
You might know me as the girl who's been run through by 101 guys all in one day. I feel like I was made for this.
Oh, you've done 100 as well?
Yesterday I did 100 on my own.
Surely not. This can't be possible. This isn't true. No.
What's the experience, bro? It was a bit mad, I can't lie. You got 5, 10, 15 to 20 minutes. It was a good experience.
Any young girl that's watching this video, I just need you to know from me that this is not cool. And I'm all for, like, live your life. Like, no judgment, whatever. But this is just crazy. I got run through by 101 guys. I'm just a girl trying to enjoy myself. I feel bad for her parents and every boy's parents that was in that.
This isn't a game, guys. This is sus. Super sus. Oh, come on, man. What? This is so demonic. This is crazy. Look how many people are filming this right now. Too many people, even Christians, will say it's just entertainment. But Satan, he knows it's not just entertainment. It's time that you and I take serious inventory on the content we're consuming, because it's either drawing us closer to God or it's drawing us closer to the devil. Full stop. If you want to learn more about spiritual warfare, click follow or subscribe.
If you're a British farmer, just lift your head. Look at the Dutch. What's happening to the Dutch? Half of them have been told they're going out because the government is buying them out. The government is buying them out because the EU has told them they've got to go. Which farmers? Livestock farmers. Livestock farmers are going to be treated to just two options. You can go out and we'll buy your farm, or this is the good one, you can go out and we'll buy your business. And if we buy your business, we'll let you keep farming, but now, like here, you'll probably be farming pretty ploughs and plastic bags of dog shit. It's like, what do you want to do? You want to be a livestock farmer? You've got somebody working very hard to prevent you.
You guys tell me what you think about this. Can you see those sunflowers? Sunflowers have a thing called heliotropism. They face the sun and curve their face towards the sun every day, all day, every hour to absorb the sun. Can you see there? Yeah, they got their face turned away from the sun here. Now, if you look up over through there, you can see the beans and the corn and all that kind of stuff. And they don't have much choice. It's either grow straight up or fall down. But these sunflowers have a completely different mechanism. And for some reason, they don't like the sun. Now, I don't know what's causing that, but I'm inclined to say that the very people that took down my videos also might be responsible for this. I don't know that to be the truth, and I have no one to point a finger at. But I do know that these sunflowers are not facing the right direction. This is a farm boy. Let me know what you think about that.
Have you seen this weird string of lights fly over your home recently? Well, don't fret, because they're not UFOs, it's not an alien invasion, it's just SpaceX Starlink satellites. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can see them for yourself. First, I use an app called Find Starlink. It's free, and all you do is put in your location, and it gives you a list of potential sightings based on their brightness. Now, I found this app to be helpful, but not perfect. The timings that it offers tend to be very early, by several minutes at least. So I depend on another app called Heavens Above, which is also free, and that gives you almost dead-on accurate timing for most of these Starlink passes. But I find that the Find Starlink app is a bit more user-friendly, so I start with that, and then I move over to Heavens Above, and I look on the live sky chart, which gives you a little circular star map, and it shows the Starlink satellites with little icons, and you can watch them fly by in almost real time. So that way you know if they're not there, they're not there. People from all over the world have been commenting on my Starlink videos, telling me where they were, when they saw it, and it's been so much fun to see all of you guys engage every time one of these flies by. Leave me a comment if you've seen Starlink recently, and be sure to follow the Orbital Alliance for more awesome Starlink videos. And I'll see you all on the other side.
There should be some sort of election for this guy to plant these things all over in the sky. What do you think about it? Let me know how you feel about it.
It's called Skynet, and Skynet is this massive surveillance program that is run off of AI, where they basically...
Is it called Skynet?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a control mechanism where they have your biometrics. They create basically a digital version avatar of you with your digital ID, your biometrics, your fingerprints, your iris scan, and they manage your social media platforms, your bank accounts, and connect everything into one. And they're starting to ban people and blacklist people off of the internet. So much so that if you don't have a certain social credit score, you can't even access the internet. So
Dear Kamala Harris, let's get one thing crystal clear. The vast majority of American men have no issue with electing a female president. Our issue lies solely with you. You were second in charge of California for 13 years.
As California's Attorney General, Harris promoted enforcement of a law that allowed prosecutors to seek jail time for parents of truant kids.
As a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
I thought that was crazy. I was like, how can you lock parents up?
If you don't go to school, Kamala's gonna put you and me in jail. Yes, we achieved intended effect.
I opened the door and I see at least 7 or 8 cops that wanted to arrest me. As a matter of fact, they did.
And frankly, you know the prosecutors in my office who volunteered to do this? My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutors. And they went over there and I said, when you go over there, look really mean.
She had me arrested and prosecuted because my handicapped daughter was sick in the hospital and had missed some days of school.
I learned that with the swipe of my pen, I could charge someone with the lowest level offense. That person could be arrested, they could lose time from work, and their family maybe lose their job. They'd have to come out of their own pocket to help hire a lawyer. They'd lose standing in their community.
I lost my job and couldn't pay rent, and we got evicted.
Weeks later, I could dismiss the charges, but their life would forever be changed.
I became homeless. We had to move into a motel.
All because of the swipe of my pen.
I don't agree what Kamala Harris did to my mom.
And I don't agree with what she's done to other parents as well.
You were second in charge of the United States for 4 years.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Inflation is hitting the highest level in 39 years. A record high number of illegal crossings.
Crime's been surging across the nation.
Huge spikes in homicides.
Could we be heading toward World War III?
After 17 years of failed leadership, you are now asking us to trust you as first in charge of our country.
I am concerned and focused on big issues. Elementary and middle school truancy is actually a big issue if we're trying to save the state money. Because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I want money.
My message to all Americans, do not trust Kamala Harris.
As men and protectors of women and children, you are simply a risk we are not willing to take.
Paid for by Maha Alliance and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
We are not in 2024. The moon creates the month. This is why we call it a month, because the moon does 28-day cycles. 364 divided by 28 is 13. Where is the missing month? We don't even know what month or year we are truly in, people. This is crazy. They did this to keep us out of sync with the monthly cycles within our body. Because the moon governs water, this is why the tides of the ocean follow the moon. So the moon also governs the liquids within your body. This is why females get a menstrual cycle. We all have a special fluid produced by the upper brain which falls down our spine every month. They don't want us raising this fluid back to the brain to activate 100% of our brain so that we function on a higher capacity. This is what the Bible means by unless you are born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God.
Today we're diving deep into the ancient roots of a festival that many of us know as Halloween. But did you know its origins trace back to the Celtic festival of Samhain? Let's unravel the mysteries together. The tradition dates back over 2,000 years to the Celts who resided in what is now Ireland, the UK, and northern France. For them, November 1st wasn't just another day. It marked the end of summer, the harvest, and the onset of a cold, dark winter, a season often linked with human mortality. The Celts believed that the boundary between the living and the dead blurred on the eve of their new year, October 31st. This was the night of Samhain, a time when ghosts were believed to return to Earth. But it wasn't all spooky. The presence of these spirits was thought to empower the Druids, or Celtic priests, to predict the future, a crucial comfort during the bleak winter months. And how did they commemorate this event? With grandeur. Druids would construct massive sacred bonfires where people congregated to burn crops and animals as offerings to the Celtic gods. And here's a fun fact. The Celts would don costumes made of animal heads and skins, attempting to foretell each other's futures. While other tales say that the Irish people would dress their children up as demons as to disguise them from the dead roaming the earth, thus protecting them for another year. Sounds a bit like the origins of our modern-day Halloween costumes, perhaps? But how did this ancient festival evolve into today's Halloween? By 43 AD, the Romans had conquered most of the Celtic territory. Over the next 4 centuries, they merged 2 of their own festivals with Samhain. One was Feralia, a day to remember the dead. The other honored Pomona, the goddess of fruit and trees. Ever wondered why we bob for apples on Halloween? Well, Pomona's symbol is the apple. From ancient Celtic rituals to Roman festivals, the evolution of Samhain has given us the rich tapestry of traditions we associate with Halloween today. That's all for today, folks. Join us next time as we explore more intriguing histories. Stay curious.
I thought it was about eating treats and dressing up as spooky characters.
You can then make a connection between Assyrian and Babylonian texts with biblical texts, also with the Torah, right? The Old Testament of the Bible, the Quran. So all of a sudden you're seeing that the Quran, the Bible were written at a much newer time period than these ancient tablets. Why are they saying the same identical things as the ancient tablets? That's the first big question mark you have to ask yourself. So now you have to go back and convert these languages, Aramaic, Hebrew and everything else. And you got to begin to look at the origin of these sources for these books. And you realize 90% of it's coming out of ancient tablets that existed for thousands of years, well documented. No need to look that up or Google it because it's an absolute known fact. These tablets are thousands of years old, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 years old, and they're sitting in the British Museum. But like, for example, the Epic of Gilgamesh is giving you the full story of Noah's Ark. You're even given the shape of the ship he built, not the ship dimensions in the Bible. The original dimensions of the boat is a circle, right? It's a disc that he built, not a gigantic boat. The story in the Bible is a little off, but the generalization of the story is coming directly from these ancient tablets.
I mean, this man will go down in history as, one of the bravest examples of resistance. Here he is. This is after taking 5 main tank rounds that killed 4 or 5 other people. His arm is blown off, his legs are mangled, and he's shredded. And here he is, and he sees the drone, and imagine this guy's already bled out. He's in shock, and he manages to pick up a stick, and he's going to throw it at the drone and try and knock the drone out of the sky. The Israelis were saying that this guy, they say he's a billionaire. Well, I'll tell you what, find me a billionaire that's dressed in combat clothes. They say that he was hiding in tunnels behind women and children. It looks to me like he's dressed to do fighting above ground. I mean, everything the Israelis were saying about this guy turned out to be a lie. And now, he's going to be revered. He will go down in history as the father of Palestine. This is the man who made Palestine possible. If there's going to be a Palestinian state, it's exclusively because of the leadership provided by Sinwar. And that leadership is solidified now in the way that he died. There's no dishonor there. There's nothing but, I tell you, every one of us men who call ourselves men, look in the mirror and ask yourselves honestly, could we have gone down with that much dignity?
What the Reagan administration were doing, both with Colonel Gaddafi and with the UFOs, was a blurring of fact and fiction. But it was part of an even broader program. The president's advisors had given it a name. They called it perception management, and it became a central part of the American government during the 1980s. The aim was to tell dramatic stories that grabbed the public imagination, not just about the Middle East, but about Central America and the Soviet Union. And it didn't matter if the stories were true or not, providing they distracted people, and you, the politician, from having to deal with the intractable complexities of the real world.
Reality became less and less of an important factor in American politics. It wasn't what was real that was driving anything, or the facts driving anything. It was how you could turn those facts, or twist the facts, or even make up the facts, to make your opponent look bad. So perception management became a device, and the facts could be twisted. Anything could be anything. It becomes, how can you manipulate the American people?
And in the process, reality becomes what?
Reality becomes simply something to play with to achieve that end. Reality is not important in this context. Reality is simply something that you handle.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. Wow. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Wow. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
Holy shit.
Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted, until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
What year was that?
It was 65, but...
Holy shit.
1965.
That's amazing. 65. Wow. April 3rd, 1965. Paul Harvey nailed it.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty much just like the world we live in today.
I believe that an elite group of people and the corporations they run have gained control over not just our energy, food supply, education, and health care, but over virtually every aspect of our lives. And they do it by controlling the world of finance, not by creating more value, but by actually controlling the source of money. Here we are at the bottom level going about our daily lives. Above us is government, people who are given a monopoly on force and use it to tax and control us whether or not we agree. But who controls them? At the next level are the corporations. Many would say that it is now corporations and not nation states that rule the world. They call it a corporatocracy. To acquire the world's resources and control the markets, this corporatocracy must have access to cheap money. The big corporations get their loans at special rates from the big banks, which means that those who control the major banks, the moneyed elite, ultimately control the corporations. As I've followed the money, I've learned that almost everything I once believed about money is simply not true.
A new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its people.
Well, I'm pretty sure that wraps it up for today. Hit that sub button.